Allahu Akbar, Allah.
The war on terror hinges on the safety and security of Pakistan. Increasing instability in the world's largest Muslim country has raised fear and concern across the globe. In recent months, the Taliban and extremist groups within the country launched attacks with increasing frequency and ferocity. They spread from lawless tribal regions to the heartland of the nuclear-armed country. Where is extremism bred? Madrassas, translated, means place of learning. For children in the most impoverished places, local madrassas and the Islamic theology they teach offer the only option for schooling. Many feel the extremism spreading through Pakistan is born in poverty and raised in the more radical madrassas.
I think for a long time we didn't have any data on the madrasa system. And we do have some data now. I would qualify that because I don't think that there have been a sufficient number of surveys conducted for us to have a very, very reliable number. The survey conducted about a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago, threw up about 11,000 plus madrasas. And there are about 1.5 million students that are estimated to be in madrasas across the country. I'll give you an interesting personal anecdote. I went to visit a madrasa in the south of Punjab a couple of years ago, and there set out in the green fields outside the city of Dera Ghazi Khan was this very fortress-like wall and a large complex of buildings. There was a magnificent, beautiful mosque, and then there were 4 buildings also, 4 stories high, each one of them, with good facilities of classrooms, laboratories, computer labs, libraries, etc. And there was a building in which close to 400 or so teachers lived. So I was very, very amazed. I said, where does all of this come from? Because this is not government funded at all. This is totally non-state funded. Certainly he seems to have collected sufficient funds both indigenously and from diaspora communities and other Muslim communities to run a madrasa which was educating close to 2,400 students. And as we opened, the gates opened up of this big fortress-like place, there was a sea of young men. So clearly I think that the bottom line on this is that there's significant funding coming in. Now this is probably one of the largest madrasas in Pakistan.
That was Shanaz Wazir Ali, Special Assistant to the Prime Minister on the social sector. Samina Ahmed, Project Director from South Asia for the International Crisis Group, fears that the extremism in Pakistan is moving from the tribal areas and into the heartland.
I mean, part of the problem lies in the fact that you've had, it's not just that there's poverty, but because the Islamist parties have jihadi madrasas in which you have the poorest of the poor sending their children, they are the recruits, they are the foot soldiers for these jihadi groups. If you take a group like the Lashkar-e-Taiba, the leaders of that group, even the second-tier leaders, they're not from the madrasas. They're university graduates. They're smart people. But the ones that are indoctrinated to conduct suicide attacks and other kinds of terror attacks are the foot soldiers, and they come from the poorest of the poor. The madrasas, jihadi madrasas, well, read another one of our reports, which is called the Jihadi Madrassas of Karachi. Mm-hmm. They're pretty much countrywide, but concentrated in certain areas. So southern Punjab is one area where you'll see any number of jihadi madrasas. Also remember that southern Punjab is where you see the sectarian and the regional jihadis really have a wonderful working relationship. Karachi has any number of jihadi madrasas, but they are expanding. in Balochistan, in the Pashtun belt. That's where the Taliban came from, in the Northwest Frontier province as well. Now, for the last several years, the military government kept on saying it was going to regulate these madrasas. It was going to regulate these madrasas. And at the end of the day, there's been no regulation at all. What we've repeatedly said in our reports is, you know what? You cannot regulate a jihadi madrasa. All you can do is close it down. With the other madrasas, and that's the vast majority, right? There needs to be regulation to make sure that they don't go down the same road.
While the United States and the world watch the events unfolding in Pakistan, all we can do is wait and hope that peace and security again return to this fragile nation.
Hayya ala salam. Hayya